Ken Ivory, you are a hero, and I don't say that very often with a lot of our guests, but it's true. What you're doing is so important, and the fact you're traveling all over the country, that other legislatures are duplicating what you're doing. How long until we start to see the benefits of this if Congress doesn't try to block you guys?
Well, I appreciate the kind words, but I'm a dad, and that's why I got in this game. I've got 4 kids, and it's a simple math problem to see what's coming, and we've got to act. I mean, Erskine Bowles, Clinton White House Chief of Staff, will tell you. David Walker, Nonpartisan Government Accountability Office, will tell you. The American Institute of CPAs will tell you. We've got a very serious math problem. The problems are real. Solutions are painful. We have to act.
We've got to grow fast, or we're going to go bankrupt. I know you probably got to go. It's a 60-second break. Can you do 5 more minutes and talk about that math problem?
Yeah, you bet. And again, get to the website, AmericanLandsCouncil.org, sign the petition, get in the game. When you're ready to make a difference, we are the vehicle around the nation that's making that happen. We're here to help you.
You are. Stay there. We'll be right back with Ken Ivory, State Rep, Utah.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Several months back, I started taking your Mason iodine and your super meal. Prior to this, I was barely walking. Now I'm able to function as a human again.
InfoWarsLife.com. You've heard the callers of the show.
Your products are great. I use DNA Force. I use XQ, Super Male Vitality, and Lung Cleanse. Every day, they're great stuff.
Whether it's Survival Shield, Nascent Iodine, or DNA Force, Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, Lung Cleanse, Fluoride Shield, Oxy Powder. I believe that all of these products will blow you away like they've done the thousands of other customers that have visited InfoWarsLife.com.
Dash 2, just amazing what it's able to do to actually detox the body. It's great stuff.
Check out InfoWarsLife.com today and the entire line of groundbreaking, cutting-edge, hardcore products.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
The earth, riches, and wisdom. So we have even right there.
What's his name?
This is an emergency transmission from FEMA Region 6 in occupied North America.
There is a war. It's happening now. It will decide the fate of humanity. The time to choose sides has come. We are the resistance. We are the InfoWar. And I'm your host, Alex Jones. Ken Ivory, Utah House Representatives. He's in District 47, AmericanLandsCouncil.org. Every legislature, every city, every county, even though it's a state matter, should be just hammered with this information, hammered with his book. This is the real prosperity. America will mathematically collapse if we don't get some serious growth. Talk about the math problem, sir, in closing in the last 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, you look at the math problem. Almost every state, nearly 50%, somewhere between 30 and 50% of their state budgets come from the federal government. That is unsustainable. Government Accountability Office every year says it's unsustainable. It's the single largest line item of revenue to the states. So how are we going to take care of sick people, poor people, roads, public safety, educate our kids if we don't get ahead of the curve and get back to economic self-reliance? Yeah, there's a lot more we could talk about on that at another time. Big issue. We're working on something called Financial Ready Utah. It's our financial earthquake preparedness planning, some modeling tools that get there. But what's really critical, we've got folks in Congress now that are stepping up. They understand this is the only solution big enough. We got folks preparing bills. We've got our own Jason Chaffetz heads the Oversight Committee. You're going to start seeing some oversight on that. Congressman Bishop, the Interior Committees, and we're going to start seeing some hearings on some of these things. But critically, rights we don't know are no better than rights we don't have. And rights we don't exercise are no better than rights we don't have.
They're dead.
property is essential. Liberty does not exist without the right and control of property. So get on the website, sign up, sign the petition, and then tell someone. I don't care how you do it, carrier pigeon, smoke signal. I know that if Benjamin Franklin were around today, he wouldn't be setting type one letter at a time. He'd be on Facebook and Twitter, and he'd be jamming this information out as fast as he could go. And then tell your leaders, tell them persistently, fix their eyes steadily, as Thomas Hart Benton said, on the period of the speedy extinction of the federal title to all the lands within the states, which is what Illinois and Missouri and Arkansas and that great western state of Florida already did. Promises are the same, already been done before. It is the only solution big enough. We need to make this the #1 issue in the 2016 campaign, because it is the only solution big enough to get our nation back to better health, better access, better productivity.
Well, look at Australia. It's beating the global curve of recession because they've got rare earth minerals being extracted, and it's not even really hurting their environment in most areas. I mean, it's such a big country like us. I mean, we should be in there getting that. We should be getting clean-burning coal. Is there any way to reverse what Clinton did, blocking all that clean-burning coal in Utah?
Yeah, we're working on a lot of those things. In fact, we've got states working back together on this thing. The critical word on that, Alex, is jurisdiction. The governing right, power, and authority. Where does the jurisdiction lie for the health, safety, welfare of the people? Now, that's something we're working on in Utah. We're working on with states all over the nation. And critically also, this whole idea of federalism, this governing partnership, the critical word there is union. Federalism is a team sport. To be an independent check to the federal government, states have to start working together, both at the executive level, at the legislative level, at the attorney general level. It's happening in some instances, but we've got to get that more coordinated.
Absolutely. States have got to team up. That's what some of the corrupt elements of the feds are scared of. In the 1-minute closing, you sound pretty confident, though, that the system knows we're going to go bankrupt if we don't do this. The question is, can we do it fast enough? Why are you so confident?
Like Ronald Reagan said, Alex, it's a wonderful time to be alive. We have no choice. We have no other option but to succeed and use the liberty, the property, the self-governance we have, and that's what's in our DNA. It's a wonderful time to be alive. We're lucky not to live in pale and timid times, he said. We've been blessed with the opportunity to stand for something, for liberty and freedom and fairness and property. These are things we're fighting for. So get to the website, AmericanLandsCouncil.org. Get in the game. We're here. We're leading on this. We're here to help anyone who wants to get in.
Ken, we're out of time, but I'm impressed with your work. I was already aware of it, but thank you for coming on. I want to have you back on soon to talk about your book, Where's the Line? How States Protect the Constitution. Godspeed.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you. We'll be back, folks. Stay with us. We had some police officers, active duty military call in. George Soros admits his foundation, give you the exact name of it, Open Society Foundation, the one that overthrew Ukraine, that he brags he overthrew on CNN, is financing the radical anti-police demonstrations. And these are the demonstrations, the demonstrators being bussed in, the white agitators, saying, deck the halls with dead cops. I mean, you've got free speech, folks, but if somebody's walking around in front of me saying, I'm going to kill you, but see, they're allowed to do it because they're there to stir everybody up and destabilize this country. I know I've harped on that. I'm all for indicting bad police. I'm all for not hiring bullies. I'm all for when a cop's being arrogant in your face, out of control, standing up to them and speaking out against what they're doing. I don't like the threat continuum training they get where they taser you, some of the police, if you don't do exactly what they say instantly at a traffic stop or something. Obviously, the police, though, feel intimidated. They're being attacked more and more. The society's destabilized, so they're telling them to keep control of the situation, be really aggressive. Well, that's then going to be shown on the news and then used against the police, and it's building towards a confrontation when most police don't act like that. But it creates the perception that that's going on. Look at the IRS taking old ladies' houses with no judge, no jury, no indictment. New York Times reported on that and said, is this okay? Oh, this lady had a restaurant for 40 years and usually only made about $300, $400 a day, or a little one, 5-person diner or whatever, like 5 little seats at the front. And so they said that was structuring her money, that she deposited it, so they took her life savings of $33,000, even though they admit it was after-tax money, and she didn't steal it, but the regulation, they implement it, and they interpret it that they're going to take your money. See, that's the mega crime, and Congress is letting that happen. Congress is letting the IRS target hundreds of thousands of gun owners, Tea Partiers, Christians, veterans groups, you name it, harassing them. And not getting in trouble and lying about it and getting caught destroying hard drives. The IRS, and I don't even mean the average IRS person, the IRS itself, a collection agency for the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is the #1 issue. The minions of it, like George Soros, Zbigniew Brzezinski, David Rockefeller, Henry Kissinger, the Clintons, the top Bushes. But even those people are just minions. We're talking Dutch royalty, British royalty. We're talking the Rothschilds. We're talking Soros with all his European holdings that are a lot more than 20 billion. These are the people, the big Chinese drug cartels, the Japanese mafia. We're dealing with global mafias. When you go look at who funds anti-gun initiatives, and I'm going to your calls, Robert and others, when you look at who funds the environmental land grabbing stuff, it's always Goldman Sachs, always JP Morgan, the Chinese government. The Chinese government is taking over land in Michigan, in Nevada, in Arizona, in Texas. And let me tell you, the federal government just rolls over and gives them public land for nothing. Nothing in many cases, or pennies on the dollar. This is a bunch of crooks like Hitler and Stalin dividing Poland in the Warsaw Pact. And I'm not going to sit here and put up with it. You're like, oh, well, who are you? What are you going to do? Listen, this stuff's so outrageous that if the people know about it, it's over. Let the feds that have been captured and are globalist fronts tell the West, sorry, Nevada, 89% is ours, and we're going to run all the cattle people off. Folks are done. That's why you can argue, hey, Bundy and them were wrong to stand up to the feds and run them off that property. They took the land that he had grazing rights to. Since 1876, they ran the other 35 families off that land in the last 20 years. They put grazing fees on there that had never been there, and then claimed he was a welfare person because he was out in the middle of the desert raising cattle on scrub brush. They know the public doesn't know about grazing rights and water rights, surface rights, mineral rights. I do. We've had land in the same spot since 1829. We've got the Mexican land grant. We paid for it. 3 cents an acre. We've still got part of it. Sold it off over the years. It used to be big. In East Texas, still thousands of acres. I know about it. See, so I know Bundy was right. But the public, that old man thinks he owns the national park? What in the world? It's not the national parks that are only a few percentage of federal land. So they always say, what, do you want to get rid of those? No, we're talking about millions and millions of acres in southern Nevada that they suddenly are putting blocks on the roads so people can't go down to the river and swim, or so you can't ride your four-wheelers. Or federal paramilitaries, months before this happened, shot a 15-year-old kid in the back on his bicycle because he didn't stop when they said get off the federal land. And so a bunch of feds showed up and started beating people up all over the place in the middle of nowhere, saying, nowhere in this county on these roads can you stand on the side of the road and protest. You have to go in a little box. And then they beat some people up. So folks showed up with guns, and the feds and the paramilitary they had aimed guns at them and said, we're going to shoot you if you continue. And the people continued on, and the feds had to back down because they didn't want the Civil War to start with a bunch of white, Hispanic, black people up against a bunch of, I didn't see any black feds, Hispanic and white feds, because that wasn't the racial angle they wanted. They want a civil war to start black against white, so we don't all feel like we're in it together. They want it to be local cops we start the civil war with by shooting them in the head in cold blood, not hands up, but guns on, walking up saying, hey, you got 100 of his cattle in there, you're letting die. And there's already been an order for you to back off, so you didn't do it. We're coming in. And they had to stand down, and our reporters were there. It's historic footage. The people there weren't looking for a shooting war with the feds. They'd been pushed all the way to the wall, to bankruptcy. And don't worry, beef prices are record cost. Most people are going out of business. Where do those cops think, those federal police, federal troops, really, think the hamburger comes from they eat? at the diner down the road. Don't you understand? You got 89% of the land out there, and it's not enough. And when the corrupt federal courts are out of control, there will be equilibrium. There will be, for every action, an opposite and equal reaction. Equal and opposite.